Hi everyone, welcome back to River and Rune. Thank you guys for joining me on the channel. I'm so excited to see what the runes have to say for this week ahead. And it's also a very lovely week because for those astrologers out there or for people who follow the stars, Mercury just exited retrograde and is now in its shadow period in Gemini, but it is stationed direct. So we should be feeling more communicative. There should be elements of a relief when it comes to the throat chakra, being able to express ourselves, express our desires, and also going deeper into things that we had learned during the time of retrograde. So for the past 2 weeks, we've been going through a lot of deep internal reflection, deep internal reorganization of our structures, not only of our mental structures, but the ways in which we look at the world, our perspectives. And we have the Capricorn full moon coming up, I believe, on Thursday, which is going to be really lovely because now we're working alongside the axis of Capricorn and Cancer. So this energy of deep ancestral understanding of emotions, the depth of emotions, the depth of what we can understand of ourselves and who we are becoming. So powerful week ahead. I'm very excited to see what the runes have to say, and I hope many of you have been enjoying the residual energies from the summer solstice. We had just passed it, so now we are officially in the waning half of the year. So we just passed, in Celtic I believe it would be Litha. So we just passed that summer solstice energy, so now the dark half of the year. Every day after that solstice, the nights will become longer. The days will become shorter. And so this is a time of letting go, of harvesting what we can and what belongs to us of the year that has just passed, and allowing ourselves to walk into autumn, to walk into summer, autumn, and then fall, and then winter, and then all of that beautiful seasonal energy that's waiting for us. So let's see what the runes have to say for this week ahead. I was told to keep this one. Keep this one on top. Okay, so during the waking of the runes, as I like to call it these days, I sang a song that I love from the Lord of the Rings, and the song's lyrics really called to me. There's this energy of there are many paths to tread. So many of us, especially with the summer solstice just having passed and with the full moon coming up on Thursday, many of us are walking into a new phase of life, a new phase of existence, a new phase in which we engage with ourselves, with our emotions, our spirit, our bodies, the ways in which we talk about ourselves, right? We're engaging with new paradigms of interpersonal connection and personal connection, which I think is very profound. And hence why the song that came through was this many paths to tread. There are many doors opening for us, and sometimes that can be overwhelming. Sometimes we can have so many of these options that are in front of us. For those of us who do the tarot, it's the 7 of Cups. We can have all these different cups around us, all of these different paths leading forward, right? And oftentimes we get caught. There's this decision freezing moment where it's hard to make a decision because of the old ways in which we are socialized to believe that there is a right answer and a wrong answer. But that kind of thought process sometimes does not allow for the fullness of life to process, to flow, to become. All of these paths in front of us, regardless of whether they're right or wrong, we will know in our heart which one is calling to us the most, or which one speaks loudest to us, so long as we take some time to listen. And I think this is the major message that's coming in for us this week, especially as we walk into the summer months, as we walk into this time of great abundance, of great fulfillment, but also understanding that as these blessings come in, as these opportunities come in, that we have to be able to continue to stand firm in what we know is true to ourselves, true to our own hearts, true to our own understandings. And I find that here in this beautiful rune, Ingwas. So we have Ingwas here in the center of the reading, right? So the thing that's closest to us, as we have that drop of time that then ripples in the pool of existence, right? And as we ripple out farther, the farther we go, the farther away in time it is, right? But now with this Ingwas energy, what I'm feeling from it is this stability, because Ingwas represents that stability, this fertility, this abundance, but also this rootedness, right? Being rooted in ourselves, rooted in who we are, rooted in who we're becoming, right? So Ingwas is gently asking us to find that firm footing, listening deeply to the voice of our heart, because these blessings are coming, and they are like a mighty wave that crashes over the stones of the shore. And so we have to allow that opportunity for ourselves to know what we're looking for. Now there's a lot of energy here, and these are the many paths that I'm feeling. These are the many paths, and I feel to start with this as well. So as you know, sometimes I do acknowledge some of the runes that fall outside of the table, especially when I feel called to do so. And we have Perthro here. Now Perthro is very powerful. For those of you who remember, I haven't seen Perthro in a while in a reading, and it's about the feminine principle, magnetism, the ability to draw people in, to draw abundance in, to draw blessings in, to draw opportunities in, right? Understanding that who we are as people, who we are in the way that we look at ourselves, the way that we speak about ourselves, resonates in the world around us. When we sing our song and our song is joyful, then the world will sing a joyful song with us, because that resonant frequency calls to the things that resonate at that same energy, right? When we sing a sad song, it's okay to do so. Those sad songs sometimes also brings sad energy around us. It's I believe his name is Orpheus, right? It's that Orpheus principle. When he sings, the world sings with him. It's almost as if the world stops to listen to his song, right? So Perthro is that feminine energy, this deeply feminine energy that allows us to resonate into the pool of sound around us and have that sound manifest the things that we desire in our life. And it's about deeply understanding our intuition, right? So tap into that this week. I feel like for the next 2 or 3 days, we're going to be tapping into our intuition much more deeply. We're going to be acknowledging things that perhaps are difficult to acknowledge or difficult to see. But out of it all, we're going to acknowledge our own strength, our own foundation. So be prepared for this full moon. I think it's going to be a very powerful one. And here are the many paths. I feel to read them as separate paths. So bear with me. We're going to start with this one first. We have Algis and Merkstaff. As you know, Merkstaff is a charred staff, right? An overcooked staff. But Algis and Merkstaff is not always, I don't always read it as a negative energy, right? Or as a negative polarity. Sometimes I see that negative polarity as beneficial in some ways. And in this case, it's about losing one's self into the madness of the world around us. Not to say that the world is mad, but it is to say that oftentimes there can be some chaotic energy around us. When it is upright, Algis represents protection, connection to the higher self, understanding of your own boundaries. When it's in reverse, in Merkstaff, it means that those boundaries are weak. They have become elastic or malleable or semi-permeable, right? And that permeability, especially when we're not able to see what's coming in and out, can sometimes be detrimental to us. So this is one path to take this week. Allow yourself the opportunity, for those of you who do feel called to reaffirm your boundaries. Allow yourself to get lost in who you are, lost in what you need, lost in your needs, your desires, your wants, your feelings, so that you can come out of it knowing more deeply the boundaries that you need to set in place to make sure that those needs are met. For others, we have Yera. We have another energy for those of us, another path, this Seven of Cups energy that's around this reading. Another path that's waiting for us is Yera. Yera this week is asking us to, for those of us who resonate, Yera is calling to recognize cycles, to recognize karmic cycles, to allow ourselves to see when they come up, to say, I've seen this situation before. Oh, this person reminds me of someone that I have met in the past. Or, this particular feeling reminds me of how I felt when I was in the presence of my parent or in the presence of my partner that had caused me pain in the past, right? Whatever these karmic cycles are, we're being called to become aware of them so that we can break the cycle, so that we can allow ourselves to let the tide of our soul ebb away from that old cycle and flow into a new one, to become a different ocean, a different sea, a different understanding, right? The next path, for those who resonate, is Manas. It is time that we take the opportunity this week to remember our intellect, remember our ability to remain grounded, because sometimes our emotions can be overwhelming, and there are times in which we have to lean on others for support, lean on our communities for support, to allow our emotions to be felt, seen, and heard, so that they can process into the voice of reason. That doesn't come straight from the mind, but that comes from a collaboration between the mind and the heart, right? This unifying principle, where the third eye and the crown speaks to the heart and the sacral chakra. This is what I'm seeing. And so Manas represents that connection to the higher self as well. For others, we are walking past, with Ewas, we are walking past a threshold. We are taking this opportunity to step into a new life, to step into something different, something new, something fresh, something exciting, something terrifying. And oftentimes when we step into a new life, the thing that we have to leave behind is our old one. And that's not always easy for us. It reminds me of the song Old Skin by Olafur Arnalds. For those of you who do listen to music, maybe that's something to listen to. Old Skin by Olafur Arnalds. It's a beautiful song, and Ewas is representing this time of transition. So this week is going to also be a step over a threshold, crossing over a boundary. And whenever you cross a boundary, you leave something behind in order for yourself to arrive into that new beginning. And then for others, we have Berkano in Merkstaff position. So I feel like some of us may be working through some social anxiety or working through anxiety in general. And I know that is not an easy process to do. So my heart goes out to you, and please allow yourself the time and space to meet your needs where you need them to be met. And I'll be right back. Thank you for your patience. So, back to the reading. So we have Berkano in Merkstaff. Like I said, there is this anxiety that I feel is being felt by some of us, right? Now, Berkano upright represents the spring. It represents growth, abundance. It represents this budding energy, right? This bursting from the dark soil into the light and welcoming new abundance, new fertility, new opportunities. But when it's in Merkstaff, when it's in the Blackstaff position, when it's overcooked, when it's been charred and turns into that blackened tar, that blackened char, the ashes that I see. Sometimes Berkano in this position can represent that social anxiety. It can represent difficult conversations with family members. It can represent difficult conversations with the people around us. It can represent discomfort when it comes to the growing process as we push away the old growth, as we push away elders who have held in their heart old paradigms that no longer are beneficial to your growth or your becoming. And of course, we always afford our elders respect, but understanding that sometimes we have to follow our own hearts to understand what it is that our path is calling us to do. And so this Berkano in Merkstaf is speaking of pushing away old growth, and sometimes that being a difficult process, that causing some anxiety or some worry as we break through and past traditions, or break through and past the taboos that were provided to us by society or culture, or things that, for example, falling in love with someone who you may not have expected to fall in love with, and your family or your social practices may not have originally allowed for that, right? Or have not allowed for that kind of love to blossom. This Berkano in Merkstaf is speaking of that anxiety as you push past those old boundaries, push past that old growth to allow for this new growth to come in. So, a very powerful reading for this week ahead. Like I said, there are many paths to tread this week. And for those of you who resonate with all of it, please claim as many as you want. Claim all the paths if you desire, because you never are sequestered to choosing only one path. We are multifaceted beings, kaleidoscopic souls that are constantly turning the light within us and creating various frequencies of colors that splash across the canvas of our life. So do not worry about these things. Do not worry about picking one or the other. Allow your heart to choose for you, no matter how many paths it says to go down, right? These are the thoughts that I have. So, tune into your intuition this week. Allow yourself that time and space for quiet contemplation if that is something that calls to you. I do feel to mention that for some of us. For those of us who enjoy listening to music, please take some time for yourself to listen to music, or to give yourself some personal time in order to listen to your inner heart, because this week there's going to be a lot of words bubbling up like a well overflowing from the hearts of men. That was very specific. That was very specific and very old world worded, which I kind of love. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me on the channel. Thank you for joining me for this practice. It really means a lot that you guys want to spend some time with me and to share this practice and support me in a very lovely and honestly one of the best and biggest ways that you can support someone, which is sharing time with them, at least in my opinion. So thank you for sharing time with me. Thank you for spending these little moments to take a look at what's going on in the week ahead. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the full moon's energy. Welcome summer with open arms, listening to that inner heart. And I'll see you next week on River and Rune. All right, everyone? Like and subscribe to the video if you want to. All right, bye everyone. See you next week.